Hey, Bucs fans, you are at the Postgame show. I'm doing this from a vacation I'm on my holidays, vacation as you guys call it over there. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have lost in overtime 24-30. In what I think, is, in all fairness, was an effort. Defense still needs work. We're probably seeing the end of days of Levante David. He seems to have been a little bit slower, a little bit more sluggish. He's still a great linebacker, but you can see the difference right now. And it's not bad, but when you've got somebody like KJ Britt next to him, it doesn't look good. My stat pad is my son's tablet, so I'm trying to figure stuff out as we go. So I do apologize. Let's do it by quarter. The Chiefs win the first quarter, 3 points to nothing. Touchdowns get traded in the second. Buccaneers go up by 10 in the third. Chiefs get 14 in the fourth. The Buccaneers get 7. Brings the game to overtime. And then the Kansas City Chiefs shut out overtime. We'll go into the player stats, and just to be sure on this and see where we're really at. Baker Mayfield goes 23 of 31, 31 of 20, 23 of 31, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Buccaneers played a clean game in that sense, but we just weren't clinical enough places. Weren't poor offensively, just weren't great offensively. Defensively, it's the same. We weren't good. We weren't great. We just didn't do enough. And we'll go into that a little bit more. Bucky Irving gets himself 24 yards on the ground. Sterling Shepard's get himself 21 yards on the ground with 2 carries. Baker Mayfield, 4 carries for 20. Shaw Wright, 3 for 19. Sean Tucker, 3 for 11. Let's go into the receiving core. We've got K. Dotton. K. Dotton has been the guy for the last 3 weeks. It's been that dude. And for the last 3 weeks, been putting up the numbers. Himself a touchdown, 8 receptions, 77 yards. Sterling Shepard creeping up behind with 4 receptions, mostly in the fourth quarter, for 48 yards. Trey Palmer, 2 for 33. Rashad White, 3 for 16. Bucky Irvin, 3 for 10. Raheem Jarrett, 1 for 9. Sean Tucker, 1 for 6. And Ryan Miller, 1 for 1 and a touchdown. Now, we know that he had an issue in the game where he could have caught a pass that would have probably got them a first down and then moved the chains, and so they could go forth. But it didn't really matter at that point because, let's face it, the game's a completely different game. So I know what people are thinking. People are thinking this thought where they go, "Oh, had we moved the ball and scored on that drive, we'd have 3 and out with them, and then we'd scored again." It's like football doesn't work like that. How you call a game is completely different based on scoring, based on what's happening in the game. What Kansas City Chiefs call is completely different based on the scenario of the Buccaneers converting that third down, where Raheem Jarrett, all he needed to do was step up into the pass, seal the pass off, so he makes sure he gets the ball. Instead, he lets someone go in front of him. You don't do that. You come to the ball if you've got somebody coming down on you. That's a kind of rookie-ish, kind of schoolboy error, if you will. But it happened. And it mattered because if that would have been a touchdown, the Kansas City Chiefs called a different set of play calls. Okay, it's that simple. The game does not stay the same. Let's talk about the defense. Tyke Smith leads 8 tackles, 1 assist. Vega 7-2. Obviously, other places will have different stats, so I'm just going off what's on Google at the moment. KJ Britt 6-2. Antoine Winfield 5-8. Jordan Whitehead 5-4. Levante David 5-3. Josh Hayes 5-1. Zion McCullum 3-4. Yaya Diaby 3-2 now. Yaya Diaby, I did not like the jumping on him fucking play. I think that That's just bullshit. There's no way you should just be able to tackle a guy to a ground. But didn't get called. I do think refereeing had a bit of a stamp in this game, but there were calls against them and there were calls against us. But it felt like the calls against us were at critical junctures of where we're trying to get on track. No one can fault the pass rush today. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. Like, the pass rush was solid. We 2 sacks on Kalijah Cansey, 2 sacks on Vita Vea. That's a decent day. I'd like more sacks. I don't know why the half sacks. I'm sure there's some half sacks in there somewhere. But look, the Buccaneers are fighting. The problem is it's getting harder and harder every week. Now we're into a period of where the game's going to get a little bit easier. And if that happens, we have an opportunity. I was hoping this was going to be the trap game for Kansas City and we were going to be the team that uprooted them. Sadly not. It has not happened. The Buccaneers show promise. They're not a team that is down and out. We're looking average right now, right? We're looking at average. We've got a decent run game. I look at these last 2 games that we played and I just think to myself, what if Chris God's still here and we got Mike coming back? How damage we really do. And it's, I'm looking at both games and I reckon they will. Buccaneers could be a completely different world right now. And it's disappointing. But we got to do better. And is Coach Bowles on the hot seat? That's what I'm asking you guys. Do you think Coach Bowles is on the hot seat? Me personally, I think he's somewhat. Not why everyone thinks he is. I believe his defense is being beaten. But at the same time, have to look ahead. Who can the Buccaneers bring in if Cohen is remotely being chased for a head coaching role? You offer him on the spot. I have not seen a level of creativity within the Buccaneers offense. So, and I like create. I'm a big creativity guy. Like, I like using the width of the field. I like using the stretch in the field. I like a little bit of everything. Yeah, that's what you get with Cohen. This is his first year. I'm immensely pleased in who we have as an offensive coordinator. Now, can he be a head coach? I don't know. I don't know. However, promote an offensive coordinator to a head coach costs a lot less than hiring somebody who could be dog shit anyway. No, there's no guarantee, right? You have no guarantees in this world. But if you surround him with talent, and the next offensive coordinator was a former head coach, maybe that could be useful. But for the most part, the clock is ticking, and it's like AJ Turnip always says, like, TikTok is on Bowles. What's he gonna do? He's got to figure something out, because this defense isn't playing to the standard that we expect. The standard that a Coach Bowles defense is expected to do, right? It's just not there. And it is disappointing. The middle field is wide open. Like, anybody can take advantage of it. Run defense is decent. I wouldn't say it's great. Pass on the perimeter is okay. Like, I can live with it. This middle of the field shit. And then I would say normally like a pass rush. Now I saw a pass rush today, so I'm not gonna bitch about that, because I saw the pass rush. They harassed Patrick Mahomes. But it's in the real world, right? We now have pipped 3 games in a row That gives Atlanta a 3-game lead. They also have the tiebreaker. It's going to be an incredibly difficult road to win the division now. I'm not going to say it's lost because I never will. Until it's lost, it ain't lost, right? But it's getting harder. This Buccaneer team now has to go against a team that's looking to bring back Christian McCaffrey this Sunday. Got to lick our wounds quick and get back at it. Defense has to get it right. I thought Josh Hayes had a decent game. I didn't think he was great, but for what he can do, I'm okay with that. I'd have liked to have seen Zion McCullum travel with Hopkins, because we made Hopkins look elite again. Just and that was disappointing. I'd have liked to put his ass down. But he's a good player. Buc fans, this is the make and break part of the season that's coming up. The resolve that I'm seeing from the Buccaneers, when the chips are down, the fight's there. It's Buccaneers fighting, but it's capable of so much more, and that's why I respect the fight. But I want more. I need more from the Tampa Bay Buccaneer team. Could they're capable of it? I don't want to hear salary cap. I don't want to hear we're beat up. Well, I get it on offense. Like, you can't lose 2 wide receivers, and I think the offense is doing a decent job. I think there's more to be made and more that can be done. And it's pushing Liam Cohen to his limit. But the challenge he will get out of this, and I mean this, and honestly, I mean this. This challenge of generating offense while you've lost Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, arguably 2 really, really good, one of the better duos in football, right? By losing them, it's forcing you to be creative. And if people see you generating offense, you're a fucking good offensive coordinator. You are. Like, if you can take Baker Mayfield, K-Don, and Scraps, let's face it, you're generating good offense. Third game, the goddamn Zeros robbed us. At least that misogynistic piece whose Casey's kicker didn't beat us. I get what you're saying, but yeah, there was some questionable calls. There's definitely some questionable calls in there. I don't think it was the reason we lost. In all fairness, I also think I definitely think it hindered us. I'm not one of these people who's going to sit there and blame a referee why we lost the game, because we had opportunities to win, right? So there'll be people talking about should we have gone for it on 2. In my opinion, I'm not going to say no. I'm no offensive guru or anything, but you've barely scored all day, and now you think you can get a fucking 2-point conversion. It's probably not going to happen, and then the game is lost. So I'd rather have an opportunity to have multiple plays where I can make a play. So, for example, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense, they didn't get the coin toss. Kansas City got the ball, and they drove down and scored a touchdown. There are multiple opportunities where you can pick off a ball, cause a fumble, sack a quarterback, stop them. There are endless possibilities. You're asking a team to win a game off one play at the 2-yard line that scored 3 touchdowns in an entire game of football, that struggle to move the ball at times. In my opinion, it's laughable. Like, I wouldn't even entertain it. Get to overtime. Yes, I know you've seen the video. You've seen Patrick Mahomes winning overtime all the time, but you've got more opportunities to make plays. You got one opportunity to make a play versus multiple. Don't be wrong. If you scored a touchdown on the first play, absolutely. But you got multiple opportunities to make a play. So shit. Me personally, I'm taking the extra point during the overtime. It's the way it's going to be. Nothing wrong with the other philosophy. That's just a different philosophy. If I play Madden, yeah, go for it. If I play in real life football, I kick the extra point, and that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, no, these same people would have been frothing at the mouth to miss if he tried for 2. Absolutely, that's why he tries for 2 and doesn't get it. There's a whole, why would you not have tried winning overtime? You can't win. You just can't. And I think that's the problem. The problem is we live in hindsight. So we can sit there and, well, why did you do that? Why did you do that? We're not living in real time, right? And we have no real repercussions because we have no idea the way. If you pick the opposite to what Bowles did and what Bowles did went wrong, that doesn't mean what you did would work. It's not 50-50. Like he gets wrong, you guess right. It doesn't work like that. You could do your shit and it still wouldn't work. My boy, it's been a while. So I'm only a couple of days ago.
Hey, what's going on?
My man.
How you doing?
Hey, too bad, man. Just settling into the other hotel.
Yes, that's good. First of all, always a pleasure hanging with you. You were awesome. Unfortunately, sorry that you had to be in the States while the Bucs decided to take a dip. This is last year all over again, and right now, it's not looking promising for this Bucs team. I personally think the season is done because we have too much. I don't see this Bucs team running the table right now.
How many games we got left?
We have
7,
nine
right?
games. I think
Nine games. Right?
9 games left.
So we can pip 2. That's it.
No, I'm sorry. We have 8 games left. 8 games left.
Okay, so we can pip 2. That's it.
We can't even lose.
That's it.
Honestly, you
If you
have
go on.
the game is out of our. I don't like when the Bucks are not in control of their destiny. So at this point, you have to
Yeah,
pray
no, I
that
get that.
you have to pray the Falcons lose at least 3 games. You have to
Yep.
pray that one of the NFC North teams, 2 of
They're going
them
to lose 4 games because
collapse.
they've got a tiebreaker over us as well. At
Exactly.
least,
Yeah.
at least you said there's 8 games.
8 games.
So we're relying on the Falcons to lose half their games, and we've
Exactly.
got to make sure that we win 4 games.
Yeah. I mean, winning. We realistically, the Bucks need to win 8
It's not
because they
impossible. It's getting harder and harder to do. Right.
harder and harder.
Every time we lose, it's going to get harder, and it doesn't get knowing that we got Christian McCaffrey potentially coming back in this next game. Now, if Christian McCaffrey weren't coming back, I'm looking at this game going, okay, it isn't as dangerous. Now we know what Christian McCaffrey is going to look like because he's coming back from an Achilles tendon. But here's my question for you, AJ. What would have you done? Would you have gone for it, or would you have? And there's, in my opinion, there's no right answer. It's just your answer because I'm a big believer. Is there'll be guys who go, yeah, I'll go for it, and there's guys who go, no, I'll play the overtime. None of them are wrong, but I like to hear the philosophy and everything behind it.
Honestly, the Bucks should have been going for fourth down conversions in the first half. That was their biggest mistake because in the first half, their offense wasn't in sync as they should have been, and early on when it was short, they should have gone for it. The biggest thing is to keep Mahomes off the field. That is the number one priority, and the Bucks offense had the best chance to do that. And because they weren't doing that, you put the games back in the hands of this defense where it had its moments, but we already know Bowles continues to not adjust on time and stay in a coverage that doesn't work. And first of all, why in the hell is a backup corner on Hopkins? Zion should have been there.
Fair
You
point.
take your
Yeah,
chances right
Ryan should have
there.
traveled. Show.
That was
I
pitch.
completely. That'd be one of my question of bowls is like, Why don't you have your best corner travel against their best wide receiver, or do you not look at, D Hop as a like what he is, right? And we all know D Hopkins, you're going to arm him with a good ball. He's going to play decent, solid football. Maybe he won't be the greatest player of all time, the greatest dude of all time, but he's going to go back to where he was before, where he was that kind of who's the dude.
Right, but
In a
either
lesser
way,
capacity.
yeah, and he is still Hopkins. At that point, he's a probably future Hall of Famer. You don't put a
Mhm.
corner off the bench on a future Hall of Famer, a potential future Hall of Famer. That's ridiculous. That's just incompetence.
I agree. I agree. I'd like to know the full process of that because it doesn't make much sense to me. Like I would have Zion McCullum follow him around like a fucking but the only time he can't follow him is if he's in the slot. And that's it. Okay, so fair enough. You're gonna use that. We know who their favorite slot wide receiver is, don't we?
Yep.
That's
And that was
Kelsey.
another thing. That was another thing. Why are you not bumping Kelsey off the line of scrimmage? Why are you not being more physical? Why are you not? Because the problem, you know what it was, in my personal opinion? I think Bowles got too comfortable when the front four was getting pressure in the first half. And then what happened? They adjusted, something that Bowles does not do. Why did you not have the receivers jam and man press and disrupt the route? The catch that Hopkins had late in the third quarter, where he ran his slant, that was inexcusable, but that was not the corner's fault. That was the scheme's fault because why is he running backwards or pedaling backwards when he should have been moving forward to disrupt the route? You were under 5 yards, so you're not going to get a holding call. That is just a piss poor execution, a piss poor scheme from Bowles. I don't know. At this point, Bowles is showing me that he doesn't have what it takes. Cohen in the offense, they did everything they could to win. Putting up these kind of points against Spagnolia, that's a hell of a thing.
We're being that underhanded. That's what I mean. I'm not. I think the offense. I want to see more out of it, but at the same time, I understand that there's only so much you can give with where we're at. Right? Like I look at these last two games and go, "What if Chris was still there?" You know, it changes the dynamic. It changes the dynamic. And I think the problem, and it will be even more worse this week because we lost McMillan. And did we do anything with McMillan being out? I don't know. I've not seen anything from him that's really sold.
Yeah, I just at this point, I'm Bowles again. I'm just not a believer in him. He doesn't show me anything. He shows me that he's he's consistently inconsistent, and he just doesn't know what to do. And I know people in the chat are saying that Cohen shouldn't be the head coach. He should at this point. If this offense, let's say, if this offense continues to stay on this progression, and they're getting better and better, but the defense does not improve, that shows you, in a way, Bowles has lost his use as a coach because your specialty is supposed to be defense. So you're not holding your end of the bargain up, but Cohen is.
Absolutely.
So, and
So
at this
you've
point,
got to be at a point where if you're that in your side of the ball isn't showing up as much as it should, then you should be making decisions that, from a head coach point of view, timeouts, challenges, time management, all those kind of things that head coaches are responsible for. You should be doing those so diligently and so wow that they'll go, okay, these are tips, but his head coaching side of things is really upticked. So maybe that's what we're going to get. And we haven't seen that either. That's kind of been the problem. I'm pleased with the pressure that the front four got, or the front, sorry, the front three got, because it was the front three that generated the sacks, and we play a 5-3. But when I say this, honestly, is this sustainable? Because we hadn't had much pass rush for a while, and now all of a sudden we get it in one game. Will we get it in the next one? I hope so. The only thing I will say about this Buccaneers team is it is not playing like it's loose. If that makes any sense, like they're fighting. You can see the fight. Like that's the only thing that inspires me for hope is we're competing in every single game that we're in. But we need more.
yeah. At this point, though, I'm just being a realist. The biggest win streak they've ever been on is a 6 game winning streak, and that was in the '90s, and that was under Dungy, ironically, a defensive-minded coach. So what does that tell you? Right now, I don't know. The Bucs, honestly,
I'll tell you exactly what it tells you. It tells you it's extremely unlikely. It's not impossible. There's no such thing as impossible, but it's extremely unlikely that it's going to go that way. We all hope, because I'm always going to support. I know you as well. We're always going to support our Bucs. We're always going to sit there with our beer, our popcorn, or whatever we enjoy on the day, and still support these Bucs and hope we can salvage the season and get something out of it. Right? That's what we're going to do. But realistically, you are right. Yeah, it's a huge challenge. It's a huge undertaking, and I don't want to hear salary cap issues. I don't want to hear that shit anymore. We ain't got it. Okay, we don't have depth, but so does a lot of the league, doesn't it?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
when
yeah.
a lot of teams, when they lose two of their star wide receivers, that their offense are supposed to be shit, and we're not.
Yeah.
Our
At this
defense
point,
hasn't lost a lot at this point. We haven't lost a lot. We were coming into this season talking about how good we were going to be defensively. Me and you both said the defense would carry the team for the first 8 weeks.
yep,
It hasn't.
yep. They're the
It
ones getting
hasn't. It
carried.
hasn't. Okay, Drew's have played the defense at the beginning, but now we're like, what are we missing right now? Dean, and we did. I honestly didn't think Sebastian Dennis was going to have this big of an impact in the team. That's why I wouldn't call it such a big loss. But looking at it now, it is a lot, because they had this thing where with obvious passing downs, Sebastian Dennis went in, and then when it was obvious rundowns, they would put in the guy.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be that much of a difference. Like, it shouldn't be that much of a difference, but it is. So my question to you: if you're Coach Bowles and you've got an opportunity to sit with the GM, what do you ask? What do you want to do now?
Well, at this point, the deadline's tomorrow. You need to do everything in your power to get another linebacker or another corner to help. If not, that shows me that the Bucs at this moment are not in it to win it, and they're going to shut things down. You got to at least
I
try
agree.
something. So,
I totally agree, and I think that could be that. Might not be play that kills off Ball. It might be this decision of saying going to Jason and saying, "Hey, I need a corner. I need a linebacker.
yeah, at
We
this
need
point, you
if you
need
want to compete for the rest of this." Yeah,
Yeah, if you want to compete, you better get a linebacker or a corner. If not, you're throwing the white flag, and that's fine. Just let me know so I can talk my shit, and I don't want to hear no bitching about it. And Buck fans out there, again, I am a fan of football first, then the team. So remember, football is different. You can't, as much as we love our team, you have to have realistic expectations and views of how football works. Unless this team finds something, unless Bowles decides, you know what, I'm going to stop being a dumbass and doing zone coverages and putting people on star receivers when even though he's a backup and not making them just do basic football, the Bucs are not going to run the table. You got to be real. If Arians was here, I'd be a lot more confident because he's a risk taker. In this era of football, if you're not going to take enough risk, you're just asking to just be left behind. And unfortunately, Bowles is doing that. And on that last note, I'm going to start my own little video, but I wanted to come on here and chop it up. Slick, always good to talk to you, my brother. Enjoy Florida. And as always, guys, continue to support Slick. He's a hell of a coach, a defensive-minded guy. Please show your love for him. You take care of yourself, brother. But as always, though, my head is held high, and as you see in the background, go Bucks.
sure, Bucks. I'll catch you soon, brother.
Yes, sir.
Okay, guys. So what we want to do now is: do you want Jason Light to pick up the phone and start ringing up for corners, or go and find that free agent, go and find somebody who can make a play. Do we go and find someone who's been in the team before? Do we go and give Shaq Barrett a call? I don't think Shaq Barrett's the answer personally. Mainly because you've got to get his rights. His rights are still owned by Miami, so you're going to have to give up something for him anyway. But you need to look at a linebacker. We need a pure pass coverage linebacker because I think Levante David can still do the job on the run. I think the pass coverage from him has been a bit sloppy. It's sloppy because he's fucking older. So no slight, he's one of my favorite players. It happens to all players. I don't think, and this makes me very sad to say, I don't think David will be on the team next year. I don't think he'll be on anyone's team. I think he will retire. And it hurts me to know that we can't send him off in a playoff. It's not off the cards yet, but it feels like it just feels like he deserves more. In my opinion, he deserves to go to a playoff game, at least. Whether it be wild card, whether it be divisional, whether it be NFC Championship, whether it be Super Bowl. This gentleman deserves one more shot. It's in the tank. K. Dotton continues to be the guy. The only thing I will say, the bright light in this is this running back combo that we have is legit. That will leak into next year. This tight end that is blossoming before our eyes, who's got progressively better, but this year has taken a leap because he had to be the guy, is showing Cohen. If Cohen sticks around, he gets Mike and Chris back. I know Chris's contract was in, but if he does get Chris Godwin back, keep Sterling Shepard maybe with Baker. That's an arsenal to work with in the second year in a scheme. Who wouldn't want to stick around for that? You got to be offered the keys to a kingdom no one else can give you, and I don't think that job is available. This Tampa Bay Buccaneers job is right there. And what I'm saying on this, you pair Liam Cohen as a head coach with a defensive coordinator that's been a head coach before, like a Dan Quinn. I'm not saying Dan Quinn, I'm just saying like a Dan Quinn. You'll get his expertise as well. I know you're all going to sit there and Dan Quinn was a bad head coach. Look, head coaching is head coaching. Experience is experience. You want to surround him with somebody at the DC level who's been a head coach to help him acclimate to being a head coach. He needs to have someone he can trust. Well, I'll be square on this. That's the one thing Coach Bowles hasn't had. He hasn't had. I mean, he's got a backing support of Bruce Arians behind him, but he doesn't have someone directly on the staff right next to him who's been a head coach before that can lean a bit of experience into him. I've seen how much that has in my own coaching. I've seen how much that helps. Like having multiple guys who have been defensive coordinators on my team. So I had myself, the defensive coordinator, the linebackers coach. We were all DCs at one point. So that room, and one of the defensive line coaches, we've all been DCs at one point. So that room was like a melting pot of all the ideas that we had for football from a defensive coordinator point of view, which meant we could come up with really elaborate stuff, game plan, etc. Because we all were different, fresh, new. And I know for our head coach, the reverse was the same for him. He learned a lot about offensive football by the guy who was the assistant head coach and the offensive coordinator. You need to have people around you to help you succeed too. Now, I'm not saying Liam Cohen can't help. Coach Bowles. What I'm saying, if you're going to give Coach Bowles the keys, if you're going to give Liam Cohen the keys, pair him with a defensive coordinator, been a head coach. That'll help him more than you know. Get people on the staff that have been in higher positions at one point in their career, because that experience is invaluable. But for now, I'm in my hotel room in Central Florida, in Orlando. I'm just right. The iDrive is right behind me. International Drive. I got 2 sleeping babies and my wife, so I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna go and get some sleep. But Bucs on me. Bucs 1, 2, 3. Go Bucs!